You're watching Coping with COVID-19 with Chris Manners. Today's special guest is Tanya Peterson.
Hi, I'm Chris Manners and you're watching Coping with COVID-19. My guest today is Tanya Peterson. She's the director of the San Francisco Zoo on Sloat Boulevard, and she's here with us today to talk about how the zoo has been managing during the pandemic and about the zoo's reopening. Ms. Peterson, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Christopher, for having me and talking about the zoo, one of my most precious, right here in my heart. I love that zoo forever.
I'm really pleased to hear that the zoo has reopened again. That's great news. Can you tell us what changes you've made to make visitors to the zoo feel comfortable and safe while they're there? I understand that now you have to make reservations and there's only a limited number available each day.
Yes, well, probably like so many, we were making changes before the shelter in place. Fortunately, because we work with animals and we have a veterinarian hospital on site, we had the face coverings, foot baths, and using the temperatures even before we did shelter in place. So some of those fundamental changes, especially with employees, was occurring months ago. But while we were closed, we made some internal, external changes. The first one that a guest would see would be online reservations. You now need to make a reservation to visit the zoo, just like a dinner reservation at your favorite restaurant. That is an effort to slow down congestion. So, trying to keep everything ticketless online, and we can control the number of families coming in over the course of time.
That's great. What about the indoor exhibits and the playground? Are those off limits now?
Well, they're not off limits, but the playground we had started childcare program for essential workers even when we were closed. And the playground is used exclusively by our childcare programs. So if you can think of the zoo, we're 100 acres, about a good third of it right now is reserved for childcare. So what we do is we've got the children in their safe pods. They're with each other for 3 weeks. They're in a controlled environment. And in the morning, one pod has the playground. We disinfect. And in the afternoon, another pod comes. All indoor spaces were closed before shelter in place. The one thing I'm asked about most frequently, though, is the train. We have a 100-year-old puffer train, and I know there's a way we can disinfect it. It's outdoors, so I'm trying to work with the health officer to get that open, because that seems to be the number one question now that we're open. When is the train going to operate?
Have you added directional signage to let people know which way they're supposed to walk around the zoo?
Yes, in the areas where we suspected congestion, perhaps at our penguin exhibit, the grizzly bear exhibit, the gorillas, we created one-way paths. We try and make it fun. They're generally in the shape of bears and color-coded. Bear claws, follow the red bear claws, follow the blue bear claws, to make it fun. But we also have some educational signs. But in every instant where we could predict congestion, we've made it a one-way. The nice thing is we were open for 2 days just to our family members, and we learned some things there. When children have not been out for 3 months, they were climbing anything and everything. We didn't anticipate that. So we put coverings over water fountains, statues, signs. The kids had been kind of cooped up, and they went crazy those first few days. So more controls in place.
That's fantastic. It must have been really quiet there for a while. How did the zoo's permanent residents respond to a lack of visitors? Did you notice any behavioral differences?
We certainly did. We have some very shy animals, the gorillas, the orangutans. We have a male orang who never comes out. Now, when I would walk through the zoo, and again, I'm not an animal carekeeper, but I would walk through, he would come running out and start blowing me kisses. The rhinos would follow me around, the penguins. Again, they were just so eager that even when I showed up, they were just excited to see me. And usually no one's excited to see the boss.
So how does it feel to have the zoo open again to the general public, even if it is in a limited fashion?
I'm just thrilled. I'm a mother with 2 children. This has been hard on the kids. And so to be able to open safely outdoors, we're one of the few zoos in the world on an ocean. So I think you got the coastal air coming through. We generally see, families or self-described pods coming through. They're excited, they're elated. Our animals are excited, we're excited, staff's excited, and our visitors. So it's just been a heartwarming, almost a tear-jerking experience those first few days to have people back.
I bet. Finally, you clearly have a lot of mouths to feed. How have you managed during the pandemic so far? Were you able to get some financial assistance? And how can our residents contribute to the zoo if they feel like it?
Well, thank you for that question. We were fortunate to receive that emergency loan for some of our payroll, but quickly we burned through it. And a lot of our major donors, they helped us for those first few months. But I think everybody started to become more nervous about the financial situation as this went on longer and longer. So we ended up eating quite of our reserves. Some of our major donors were starting to panic about their own personal situation. We have had city support in the past. That had stopped, not stopped, but had decreased as the city manages its finances. So on every end, we were feeling it. So I thank all of our members who stayed with us, who've come back, who've supported us, all the people who didn't ask for refunds and just hung in there. I thank you. And if you could join as a member, it's a tax deduction. Any contributions. Sir David Attenborough said it best: if zoos become extinct with COVID, so do the animal ambassadors therein. Zoos today generally are the saviors of most of the extinct and endangered animals. During COVID, the poachers are getting the best of the wild animals. So it's really up to us zoos to save these animals for the long term. And so I thank the community, and together we can save these animals.
Where would I go if I wanted to donate to the zoo?
Well, you can go on SFGovTV.org, and there we have it right to either join as a member or make just a donation. We also can tell you, how much it is to feed a koala. If you have a favorite animal, Christopher, is it a tiger? It takes about $30,000 a day to feed all of our 2,000 animals. So you can pick which animal you'd like to support. You can adopt an animal, all sorts of ways to make it more fun for you.
Well, thanks so much. I really appreciate you coming on the show, Ms. Peterson. Thank you for the time you've given us today.
Well, thank you, Christopher. The animals and I thank you from the bottom of our heart.
Well, that's it for this episode. We'll be back with more pandemic-related information shortly. You've been watching Coping with COVID-19. For SFGovTV, I'm Chris Manners. Thanks for watching.